So he's going to claim through this motion that autism is his excuse, that he screwed his mom, that he had sex with his mom because he was autistic. And that should be an excuse to get off. And I know what you're saying. Well, that's ridiculous. There's no way that's in the law. Well, no, my friends. No. There is a specific code in the law that was added in 2020. 2020, it was added to the law to defer prosecution for persons with autism or intellectual disabilities. See, we've got these provisions coming through the law now to let people off, to let them say, hey, look, your autism gives you a pass. Now, I will say he has been diagnosed as autistic. He has been diagnosed as, and now he's high-functioning autistic because obviously there's a spectrum. But he is definitely autistic. Okay. Max Bureau with the 250 yen says, we need a new channel, Autistic Mindset. No, definitely not. Not happening. Not happening. And thank you, Will MC, for the onset super sticker. Appreciate that. Oh man, I don't think it's acceptable. Regardless. And the thing is, Ice Cold Wolf, you bring up a good point. If you can do it for fucking your mom, what's the logical prevention from you using it from having sex with children? Which is, by the way, what they've been pushing for lately. Jim says, I looked up Virginia law and class 3 is worse than class 5. 3 is 20 years, 5 is 10, 1 through 10. Hey, Jim, thank you very much. I didn't look that up. But okay, so it's worse. Okay, great. So there's a penalty for it. That's good. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. And in that case, I can see why it would be worse because, like, going back to that statute, Jim, having sex with somebody who's at least 13 but 18, yeah, that's probably more than statutory, but less than other scenarios. So yeah, I can see what to make that worse. Making it worse, I can accept that. More punishment I can take. Opa Andres, was it mom in on it or was she raped? This is wild. So here's the thing. Chris Chan claims that his mom made the first move. I'm not making that up. This is not bullshit. In his interview, he said that she made the first move, that she was the one who initiated it. But then he goes on to say that, well, she needed some time to get used to it. So what was it? And he went on to say that she was so frail she could only handle it once every 3 days. Now, it would be very interesting to see what she could say on the stand. And even if she can get on the stand, because this is an extremely elderly woman, probably has dementia. I'm not sure there's been an official diagnosis on the dementia. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I do not think there's been an official diagnosis. But definitely that's something that could come out for trial. Because if he's going to try to assert that, there's a possibility she couldn't even consent. That gets impossible for her to consent. Yeah, this is peak cringe, guys. Sorry, content warning. If you guys weren't aware what Chris Chan was, you are now. Max says, okay, at least new superheroes. The fan. I can't even say it. The Fantastic Four. If you don't know about the Fanta situation, check out my locals, legalmindset.locals.com. I've got it posted. It's posted by me. It's down here, past Brittany Griner. Way down, right here. So you've got it. If you want to watch it at your own risk, you can watch it here. Okay, but let's go back to how he might get off. Oh, sorry. Unbreaded says, at what point does this guy just delete himself? Well, I don't think he will. I really don't think he will. I think he thinks the dimensional merge is coming, and he thinks that will save him. The original characters will come to life, and they will save him. He truly, genuinely believes that. Like, truly, genuinely believes that these characters are going to come to life. So let's read this statute here. In any criminal case, except the violation of 18.231, and I'm going to tell you what this is. I looked it up. I mean, we can just pull it up. Actually, no, it's not going to click the link, but this is murder. So except for murder, right? So murder is not an excuse. You can't get off with murder because you say you have autism. So murder's out. But in any criminal case, except murder or any crime for which a deferred disposition is provided for by statute, upon a plea of guilty or after a plea of not guilty, and the facts found by a court that would justify a finding of guilty, the court may, if the defendant has been diagnosed by a psychiatrist or clinical psychologist with 1, an autism spectrum disorder as defined in the most recent edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders published by the APA. And let me just stop here real quick because the APA lists so many disorders. Everything is a fucking disorder according to the APA because that's their grift. And they want to be able to strengthen their ability to grift. So putting the APA in the statute is problematic in my opinion. But yeah. An intellectual disability as defined in 37.2, and the court finds by clear and convincing evidence that the criminal conduct was caused by or had a direct and substantial relationship to the person's disorder or disability without entering a judgment of guilt and the consent and with the consent of the accused, after giving due consideration to the position of the attorney for the Commonwealth and views of the victim, defer further proceedings and place the accused on probation, subject to terms and conditions set up by the court. Upon violation of the term or condition, the court may enter an adjudication of guilt. Or, upon fulfillment of the terms and conditions, they may discharge the person and dismiss the proceedings without an adjudication of guilt. The section shall not limit the authority of any juvenile or domestic relations court granted in section 16.1. This is available even though the defendant has previously committed a criminal offense, has been adjudicated delinquent as a juvenile, or had proceedings deferred or dismissed under any section of the law. So this is a really strong defense, which is pretty widely available. If you're able to get that diagnosis one of two ways. So you either get one, you either have a mental a disability, intellectual disability, or you get diagnosed. And I believe he has been diagnosed and probably could be diagnosed again by the court. So check for autism. He's going to get that. All you got to do is have clear and convincing evidence that the criminal conduct was caused by or had a direct relationship to the person's disorder or disability. So clear and convincing evidence, what is that? It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's definitely not beyond a reasonable doubt. And by the way, sorry, so I'm losing my innocence. I see you guys right now, like I'll tune back in or whatever. Hey, this one, if you want to tune out and tune back in, we'll probably be done with this one another 15 minutes if you're that bothered by it. But listen, this is the news, guys. This is raw. This is how it is. Durna says, if the guy tells people he's an interdimensional rodent, could it be they at least need more evidence than a confession? Yeah. Well, yeah. I think his mental diagnosis might come up in that case. Right? I mean, at that point, his state of mind, when he says he's literally an interdimensional Pokemon mixed with Sonic, I think they're gonna automatically think he's got some issues. But here's the thing too. So he's up in front of a grand jury right now. He's up in front of a grand jury. A grand jury just decides whether there is enough evidence for something to go to trial. It also can rule on these motions. So they can rule on this motion whether this is allowed to go into place or not. So it's possible, it's still possible at this point that this could be an out for Chris Chan. And another thing too is that, think about this. When they go to select this grand jury, they're not selecting people off of kiwi farms. They're not selecting people off the internet. If you've seen the 65, 67, whatever it is part, documentary on the internet, you are disqualified from being a grand juror or a juror on the trial ultimately. If you know that much about Chris Chan, you can't. If you know the Fanta story, there's no way you're sitting on the jury. These are likely boomers who have never heard of Chris Chan at all. Or at least people that have never been to that part of the internet. And maybe some of you guys have never been to that part of the internet either. But certainly the people that are on the, by and large, the majority will not be that. They will not be of the nature that know him long term. All they might see is a guy with autism who's saying, when he in his letters from jail, he's saying he's Jesus now. He's claiming he's Jesus. And they might say, well, we should take pity on him. We should take pity on him. It's possible. It's very possible. And all it takes is a good number of them to do that. And boom, he's off scot-free. Clear and convincing evidence, not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's plurality, but not total. It's not 99.99. It's much less, the lower standard. So it's possible he escapes on this. Now, look, for me, I don't think there's any excuse for that. I don't think that any level of autism makes it okay to do that to your mom. And doing that to your mom, an elderly mother, deserves to be locked away, in my opinion, for a very long time, if not the wall. If not the wall. And that's a mercy wall at that point. Because if you do that to your mother, you could do that to a child. You could do that to a stranger. You could do that to any number of people. That's my personal feelings on this. That may not line up with the law, and it certainly may not line up with the way it goes. But there's no fixing that. If you've gone there, what else would you be willing to do? That's my standpoint on that. So that's my my viewpoint. Max Muir says autism defense has failed for Jeremy Christian. Max Train. I don't know who Jeremy Christian is. I don't know who Jeremy Christian is. You have to educate me on that, Max. Like people, wood chipper, hedgehog. I saw crucifixion earlier. It's possible. It's possible. Law Patrol says, dude, I'm eating. Was the thumbnail of the clip necessary? Yes. Yes, it was necessary. Law Patrol, get it together, man. You say you're a lawyer. You got to toughen up a little bit. It's what we deal with, man. It's what we deal with. At least in the United States where we have real crimes, not in a made-up place like Australia, like a fictional place. Totally fictional. Those fictional dollars you're sending me. Speaking of another fictional place, Canada. So just me and Nicole, Canada says 6 a.m. here in Canada. I think I'll be skipping breakfast today. Certainly, you won't be ordering any Fanta. You will not be ordering any Fanta. And Wolfgang, I will not be educating you. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to my locals and you can play that video. And you'll know all you need to know. Hit play on that video, and that's all you need to know about Chris Chan.